Hello there folks, I'm the Browning-Chaney reviewer, and on today's episode of Silent Film Saturday, I will be discussing the 1926 Tod Browning-Chaney collaboration, The Blackbird. Let's take a look at this packaging. Alright, so as you were expecting, this is a Water Archive DVD, which means this has no supplements, chapter stops every 10 minutes. You guys know the drill by now. You know, the fact that these DVDs exist is both a blessing and a curse, because on one hand, the fact that they're on DVD is really cool, but the other hand is that there are no supplemental features. Let's take a look at the back end of this package. Okay, so you have two images of the film, Thief Who Practices What He Preaches, and there's a score by Robert Israel, who's also he's a very good silent film composer. And now I'm going to be talking about the plot of this film. Alright, so basically, Chaney plays a character who is two people. He plays the Blackbird, pretty evil criminal, and he plays the fake missionary, fake preacher brother, the bishop, who is crippled, and everybody loves him, but everybody hates the Blackbird, which I think is an interesting dynamic. And it's kind of weird, because it's like this, he has this front, and it's like totally the opposite of what he does. Like, he's a criminal, and yet this guy's a preacher, and he plays both characters both sides of the same character very well. One being, kind and, a decent human being when we see him in the beginning, but when he's the Blackbird, he's kind of a jerk. He's a thief, and doesn't respect people, and he's not a good guy. The main basis of the plot is that he is in love with a music hall performer played by Renee Adore, who was Chaney's daughter in Mr. Wu. And in this film, she gives an equally decent performance. There's nothing spectacular about her. I'd say this one's probably slightly better, in my opinion. Another character of note is West End Birdie, I love that name, played by Owen Moore, and he gives a good performance as a character who's just as much of a jerk as Chaney's character is, interestingly enough. So, in the film, both these guys are going after the same woman. It's not like other Chaney films where Chaney is, either the villain or anti-hero, and the love interest is a pretty decent guy by, pretty decent standards. This guy's kind of, he steals, he's just as much of a jerk as the Blackbird is. Other things I liked about this film, again, like a lot of Tod Browning's films, they have this eerie nature to them. Like, there is something that's very off about watching this film. The film takes place in England, and it's interesting, everybody has, like, the accent in the title cards, like, im instead of him, like, oid instead of hide, or, stuff like that. And the atmosphere is also creepy in the sense that all the characters have an off look to them. Like, that's the thing I love about Tod Browning's films, that none of the characters look exceptionally normal. Like, even Renee Adore's character is, I don't know, there's just something odd about all of the characters within the film. That's probably my favorite element of the film, and Chaney's performance in the movie. So like I said, the plot revolves around Chaney's dual identity, and he's in love with Renee Adore's character, Fifi, and he's conflicting with the criminal West End Birdie. My favorite scenes of the film are in the dance hall and the very beginning in the mission, when the police are looking for the Blackbird, because I really like the atmosphere. Usually you think of an MGM film, it's got high production values and it looks very nice, but this is very, in my opinion at least, this looks very gritty, and I just like the look of the film very much. In terms of the plot, it's just okay. It's not Chaney and Tod Browning's best film. If you had asked me what their best film together was, I would definitely have to tell you The Unknown. The Unknown's just a masterpiece. This film is pretty good. It's not bad or anything. It's just okay, and that's why I feel bad, because this could be a short episode probably, because I really don't have much to talk about in this film. Another character of note is Polly, and she was Blackbird's wife at one point, and she got divorced from him. And the interesting thing was she genuinely cares for Blackbird. Like, even if Blackbird is such a jerk and such a bad guy, she sees that he has some sort of capacity to do good. And yeah, for that reason, I really like that character. I like the inclusion of her, that Chaney had some sort of previous relationship. One of the other examples I can think of a film where Chaney has a previous relationship is like in He Who Gets Slapped, but that's pretty terrible because the wife, flat out rejects him for another man. And that's just a cruel, sick joke. So, yeah, this is probably going to be the shortest episode ever. I know I keep saying it. I'm trying to think of things to say. Robert Israel's score works. It lends itself very well to the Tod Browning atmosphere put into the film. Who else is involved with this? Oh, Voldemort Young. He helped Tod Browning write a bunch of their films together, like The Unknown and a few others. What other shots did I like? In the beginning of the film, it talks about how there's crime and hopelessness and all that sort of stuff, and there's these close-ups of people, and they're not. And this goes back to the point of Tod Browning using people who are not normal looking. He uses these people in the beginning of the film to really set the atmosphere and set the tone of the film. And they're very odd-looking people, and it's kind of foggy out, and they're weird, and the music is very atmospheric. And it looks very nice. Oh, another scene I have to mention is that, this is going to be a spoiler alert, just spoiler. I'm going to have a number so you can skip to, that we can get to my final thoughts. Spoiler, at the end of the film, Chaney's being hunted down by the police. And, he's found out he needs to go into his bishop identity. And he goes into it, and when he puts his back, puts himself into the cripple position, he gets knocked down and he breaks his back. So he actually becomes a cripple. And the way when he becomes a cripple, there's it goes closer. Let me give you an example. It would be like me going like this. This is a shot of this just happening, and then that happening, just like a close-up. It's a I forgot what the technique is called. It's it's basically moving in by cutting in. They're cutting into the into his character, and he's in such intense pain. And what it makes me think of, when he goes into that cripple position, it makes me think of The Miracle Man, when he plays the frog and he gets into that cripple position. It's one of the most magnificent scenes in his entire career, because he shows tremendous dedication and acting skill and physicality, and he does it so well in this film as well. My only problem is that I wish there were more scenes with the bishop character. I would have found that to be very interesting and compelling. See more elements of how good the bishop was, instead of just seeing how the Blackbird was. And again, I guess for 1926 audiences, they would have wanted to see the the criminal. It's edgier, it's darker. But I really wanted to see more of the bishop character, and that's probably my main complaint about the film, is that there's the bishop character is just I feel he's not wasted, but just underused. He's an underused character, or underused element of the film. I liked Owen Moore's Weston Birdie. Like I said earlier, he's a jerk in the film, and he's willing to steal stuff. But he does catch the attention of Fifi in the film, and even though he is kind of a jerk, but he looks more polished than Chaney's character does, and I like that. I like that that's kind of a factor into that relationship. Would I recommend this to people? I would not recommend this if this was your first silent film. Wait a little bit and watch this later on. I mean, not because it's a bad film or anything, but because it's okay. It's nothing spectacular to watch. It's not bad. It's not a colossal tour de force like The Unknown is, but there are some really neat atmospheric moments. Chaney playing a cripple in certain scenes is brilliant, and Chaney's performance overall is quite good, as it usually is. So, yeah, definitely, I would definitely try to check this one out. Maybe just record it on TCM. I probably wouldn't get this for a DVD purchase, even though I do love this cover. This cover looks really nice, and you displayed. I love how it's displayed on my shelf. Like right now, that looks so cool. And people are like, "Hey, what's that?" And I'm like, "That's the Blackbird." And yeah, that's really about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I apologize that this episode is so short. But there are not many elements that I really have to talk about this film. At the end of the day, Chaney's performance is great, atmosphere is fantastic, story, some elements are weaker than others. I like Chaney's rival. Rene Adore is reasonably decent. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for Sherlock Jr., the Buster Keaton film, for the 9th episode of Silent Film Saturday. I'll see you guys next week.